The scientific area of thermodynamics concerns the transfer of energy into work. This video will explain why this scientific area falsifies the theory of evolution. Before we begin, let me lay out the agenda for this video. First, we need to cover the fundamental concepts of thermodynamics. This will take most of the video to accomplish. Then, there will be a quick demonstration of these concepts to areas that almost all people readily understand. And then, at the end, there will be the important demonstration of evolution in a thermodynamic system, allowing the viewer to understand why it falsifies evolution. There are three fundamental laws of thermodynamics. Each successive law refines the previous law, not replacing it but giving additional clarity of the process. The first two laws will be the focus of this video. The first law of thermodynamics addresses the change in energy in the system as the difference between the energy supplied and the work accomplished by the system. The second law of thermodynamics addresses the increase of unusable energy in the system as work is accomplished. We will get into more details next. The foundation of all the thermodynamic laws is the law of conservation of energy, which states that energy cannot be created or destroyed but merely converted from one form to another. The first law is derived from this law. Also, note that in a thermodynamic system, matter and energy are interchangeable. A key example is the conversion of petroleum into gasoline through a refining process that includes distillation, conversion, and treatment. So, energy goes into the conversion process to turn the petroleum into a different form of matter, gasoline, which in turn can be converted into heat to power the engines of cars. Thus, energy transitions into matter, which transitions into energy.
Sir Arthur S. Eddington, a British astronomer and physicist, has said,
"If your theory is found to be against the second law of thermodynamics, I can give you no hope. There is nothing for it but to collapse in deepest humiliation."
This is why evolutionists are opposed to the application of the second law to the theory of evolution. They will attempt to complicate the concepts of thermodynamics, as to confuse the individual so that its application to evolution appears to be impossible. I'm here to clarify everything for you. There are 6 areas where the laws of thermodynamics have been applied. The area of classical thermodynamics deals with heat, work, and temperature, and their relation to energy and entropy. Entropy is disordered energy, which is energy that is unusable to the current system. For example, the Sun system burns helium. It outputs visible light, ultraviolet light, and infrared radiation. This output is entropy to the Sun, but our Earth uses it to grow plants, power photoelectric panels and other similarities. Thus, the entropy of one system is often the input energy of another system. Statistical thermodynamics models gross thermodynamic behavior of particles. The other 4 areas of thermodynamics are chemical, equilibrium, non-equilibrium, axiomatic. These last 4 are not applicable to our discussion today, so we will not go into these any further. Christian apologists often use statistical thermodynamics to refute the theory of evolution. There is a major problem with this avenue of attack. Statistical thermodynamics is too complex to solve, even with a computer. It is useful for a general understanding of the behavior of particles and other similar systems, but it is too complex to apply to controversial subjects. It is better to use classical thermodynamics to falsify the theory of evolution. This video will demonstrate how classical thermodynamics can be used to refute the theory of evolution.
No process will occur spontaneously unless it is accompanied by an increase in the entropy of the universe. This applies to an isolated system, a closed system, and an open system.
Did you catch Haney's statement where he explicitly stated that the second law is applicable to all thermodynamic systems? Also, if you note, his book is about biological thermodynamics, and all biology is about life, which is always an open system. As a reminder, entropy is energy that is unusable to the current system. What are the three types of thermodynamic systems? They are the isolated system, a closed system, and an open system. In an isolated system, neither energy or mass is free to enter or exit the system. There is only one true thermodynamic isolated system, the entire universe. This is why Haney's statement can be validated. If there is only one true isolated system, then all other thermodynamic systems must be open systems. Yet, we have the thermodynamic laws. Scientists, physicists, and engineers apply constraints to an open system to create a closed system. These constraints are artificial in nature. Without these constraints, the thermodynamic laws would be useless. Since every thermodynamic system is an open system, except for the universe, which is too large to apply these laws, then these laws must be applicable to all the thermodynamic systems. All that is needed is to properly define the constraints and the laws can be applied. This refutes the core claim of evolutionists that the second law is only applicable to closed systems. In a closed system, energy is free to enter or exit the system, but mass is restricted from entering or exiting the system. In an open system, energy and mass are free to enter and exit the system. Except for the universe, all thermodynamic systems are open systems unless artificial constraints are placed on the system. How do we define a closed system from an open system? First, we define the system. This could be the sun, our bodies, or a car's engine. Second, we define the time constraints for the system. Since all systems are open, except for the universe, then we must place time constraints around the system. These are not always explicitly stated, but nevertheless, they are included. Once these have been defined, we move on to where most researchers focus their attention. Third, we define the incoming mass and energy for the system. Fourth, we define the outgoing mass and energy. Since we want to define a closed system, we must enclose the incoming and outgoing mass. Let us next move toward applying the second law to everyday examples. We will use a gasoline-powered car for our first example of applying the second law to an open system, enclosing it temporarily to create the closed system for our study. Our first constraint is the time element. For our example, the time will be limited to amount of time for the car to use one tankful of gasoline, which will be 15 gallons. So, one input of mass is the gasoline for the car. Another input of mass is the air needed to convert that gasoline into usable energy, moving the pistons up and down to turn the crankshaft, which in turn will turn the wheels. Our output mass is the fumes from this process, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and other fumes. Our entropy is the heat from the engine, the friction the car creates as it pushes through the air in front of it, the tire friction on the road, and heat friction from braking the car. Note, engineers have captured the heat from the car's engine to use in another system, climate control for the interior. The work accomplished by our closed system is the distance traveled 450 miles, assuming that the car gets 30 miles to the gallon. Next, let us move into a graphic demonstration of this closed system. First, we define the closed system. Next, we place our car within the closed system. This is technically the closed system. We add gasoline to our closed system by filling the car's tank with gas. We also include the necessary air for the gas to burn, converting its energy into work. We enclose the fumes to keep it within the system. The only purpose for this step is so that we don't have to calculate the volume and quantity of these fumes. We do not care about them fumes, so we keep them within the system so that we don't have to account for them leaving the system. As mentioned, our entropy is the engine's heat, the road friction, and aerodynamic friction. We're going to assume that we don't need to slow the movement of the car. But if we did, this would be entropy that would leave the closed system, much like our other entropy. And the work accomplished by the closed system is traveling 450 miles, getting you to your destination. Let me give a few other examples of closed systems. One example is electric vehicles. As many people today recognize, many manufacturers overstate their cars' range, and some people are not happy. Why is it overstated? It is because their thermodynamic calculations included parameters that were too lenient, ones that are not seen in real life. We also have the recommended calories per day for people. However, we all recognize that this is an approximation, as some people will need more and others will need less calories per day. As a last example, we have the appliance's energy efficiency rating. All of these calculations are done via the application of the second law. But they are all also open systems. We can put more gas in the car. We can charge the EV car up again. We need more food the next day. And the appliances need more energy to run. Finally, let us move into the graphical demonstration of the application of the second law to the theory of evolution. As it will show, its application will falsify the theory of evolution. Evolutionists believe that life originated approximately 3.7 billion years ago. Richard Dawkins postulated that the evolution of the eye could have occurred in as few steps as 1,000 steps in his book The Blind Watchmaker. Based upon this limited number of speciation events, it would mean that the average time it took for each speciation event to occur would be 3.7 million years. Even if one were to assume that the first evolutionary event would occur in less than a year after the origins of life, the Earth would be filled with the starting species. And this assumption would imply that evolution should be observable today. By default, evolution assumes that the first species that evolved was a single-celled species, which later begot a multi-celled species. This would be the first step in any evolutionary process. This will be our target system. In any thermodynamic system, there is some unused energy. For a car, it could include unburned gases because the driver hit the gas too hard. For our system, we'll include a limited amount of unused energy. For example, there could be 1,000,000 units of energy available, but only 999,999 algae within that system. This would mean that there is a single unit of unused energy in the system. For our system, we are going to assume a closed system containing just 3 algae cells. And we're going to assume there are 4 units of available energy to the system. For any system, one can decrease the system size to bring it into calculable limits. For the above system of 1,000,000 units of available energy, we will assume that all but the 3 algae and 4 units of energy are excluded from our system, leaving all of them unchanged throughout our process of 5 cycles. We're going to assume that one of the 3 algae cells dies, leaving 4 units of energy to power the other 2 cells and allow them some additional energy to accomplish 2 opposing goals. The first cell will try to accomplish the normal species replication process, mitosis. The second cell will attempt to accomplish an evolutionary step, evolving into a 2-celled species. This is our defined system. Prior to the test beginning, cell B dies, beginning the test. The system is now out of balance. Cell A will attempt the mitosis process to replicate itself. Cell C will attempt to evolve a new two-celled species. Cell D grows 1/3 of a new algae. Meanwhile, species E grows 1/6 of a new two-celled species. Cell D grows the next third of a new algae. Meanwhile, species E finishes 2/6 of a new two-celled species. Cell D finishes the new algae. Meanwhile, species E finishes half of the new two-celled species. All available energy is now in use, so species E is unable to complete its process and it dies. This is similar to how a pregnant woman's body will purge a dead baby after it dies from malnutrition. The thermodynamic system equilibrium is now re-established. The conclusion is that mitosis will outcompete evolution every time. Repeat, every time.